Hello, Internet. Hello, Henry. Hello, everyone out there. My name is Sam Rubenstein. This is After Campfire. This video is 2 weeks late because I've had a very interesting 2 weeks. I was taking care of Dipper, the foster puppy, longer than I expected. And then I went up to camp impulsively and decided to go up for closing ceremonies, burning of the L, Chief Lohican, and prom, and enjoy myself up there. And then I came home and I was going to make the video yesterday, but instead ended up in the city all day. And then today I was going to do it like early in the morning, but instead I had to go help my parents with dropping Dipper off at his new home now that he's adopted. And then I was going to go and stay at my parents', but then my brother had an issue regarding some hurricane. I don't actually know what's going on with that. And now I'm at my brother's house, which is where I'm recording this video from. And I'm here with his puppy, who is Ellie. Ellie. She's on the bed somewhere, but like you can't see her because she's laying down. She's a very tired dog. And now I'm here making this video. And so 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, however long ago, I asked Henry, hey, make a PowerPoint, make it fun. Like I thought it'd be a fun, cool thing to do. And it was awful. Not because of Henry's. Like Henry's was about magic and like very exactly what I expected from Henry. But like mine, I was like, oh my God, I am a mess. And this is awful. And it was awful for me. So what I decided to do today for answering my own question of making my PowerPoint, I made a PowerPoint regarding, wait for it as it loads on the screen, how difficult it would be to make a PowerPoint because of my ADHD symptoms, ranked by how difficult they made answering this question. So I took my ADHD symptoms. I took the top 8 based on like how frustrating they were. I combined a few together. I didn't include some, like, but I took my top 8 based on how awful they made this whole process. And I have my answer now. And like, we're going to go through them and like see which symptoms made this the worst thing I've ever decided to ask on After Campfire and why I'll never do this again. If I ever suggest this as a question again, throw me into a river. So let's start by understanding the criteria of why this is a terrible question and what happened. We're looking at 4 things. 1, how much did the symptom inconvenience me? How much additional stress did the symptom add to this whole process? For how long did this symptom persist? And could one work through or around these symptoms? Some symptoms weren't awful because I could like work around them, but like some symptoms I just couldn't, and they lasted the entire time for literally weeks on end. And so we're going to go through all of these things. So let's start with number 8, emotional dysregulation. Emotional dysregulation is the inability to recognize, define, and respond to emotional responses. It often leads to issues with expressions of emotions. Emotions may be expressed incorrectly, or they may be expressed and felt through extremes. It wasn't a huge issue during this project. I felt it literally towards the end, where I was just like, oh my God, I'm not done yet. I want to die. And like my body was, like it went from 0 to 100 real quick, where I couldn't like express like how frustrating it was and like regulate and just go through it. Like, so, but it didn't happen really till the end. So it's pretty low on this list. Up next on this list, we have hyper-awareness. Hyper-awareness is this feeling of a lack of control over sensory processing. This can cause small sounds, lights, or other things to suddenly become overwhelming and or distracting, i.e. physical touch may become things that are difficult. If there's a noise going on in the background, like I had to stop this and restart because the fan in the room that I'm staying in my brother's house kept making a noise, and I was 100% sure that everyone else could hear it. So then I stopped, listened to the video. No one else could hear it. But by that point, it already stopped, and I'm not doing a full transition during it. That'd be ridiculous. So like those kind of things, it would happen every so often, where I'd have to get up and see what it is or what's going on, or kind of like deal with it. You know, I would be like looking at my window because like I'd hear kids playing outside. I'm like, I want to know what the kids are playing with outside. Or like right now I'm very hyper focused on like, what are my hands doing? Why does this desk make noise when I slide them? Things like that. It was a little bit of an inconvenience, but it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. Usually with hyper awareness, I can like tune a lot of things out very effectively with other sounds that are intentional, which is why I work a lot to music and things like that. But we're going to get to that a little bit later. Inability to sit still. This symptom is, I combined a couple things here. I'm going to be honest with you. I combined like 3 or 4 things, which are fidgeting, which I do all the time. Fidgeting officially is small repeated movements that are often caused by anxiety and impatience. Restlessness is this feeling to need to move. So like sitting still and just making the PowerPoint was hard. It usually involved me like multitasking and moving around in seats and going from one location to another. And excessive physical movement, which is pretty straightforward. This is where like a lot of my challenges began. Because what would happen is I would work for a little bit, then I'd stand up, wander around my apartment, sit back down, start working again, stand up, play some music, like do this a little bit and shake and dance, and then go back and like it doesn't seem like it does, but it takes time away from doing anything, and it's part of the reason why I work a little bit slower than other people. But this is where like I was like, oh, been sitting here for so long. It's only been 10 minutes, but I've been sitting here for so long. So then I would move and, you know, so on and so forth. Now we're on to our top 5. Top 5 things that made this the worst decision I've ever made. So let's get into it. Number 5, forgetfulness. There was a day 2 weeks ago where I literally sat down ready to make the video, just remember that I never like made the PowerPoint. I just forgot entirely about it. And so then I had to stop, and then I didn't make the video that day, and I actually took it off my to-do list in that process, which led me to like going through doing a bunch of other things instead of making the video. Like that day, I spent that day doing like a bunch of other work. Like I was on my computer, I was super productive, but I just never made the PowerPoint. I completely forgot about it for like 3 days, where I just was like, oh, you're right. I didn't do this. I thought I did this. I did not do it. Next on this fun list, at the number 4 slot, we have being easily distracted. There are literally so many things that are just like amazingly effective at distracting people. Phone, TV, music, my phone, other work, dogs, my phone, cooking soup. I did a full day of making soup and playing on my phone. It was so difficult because I would get distracted like doing work, where I would just be like doing things, and then at some point in working, my hand had like picked up my phone and started like playing with like just doing this. And that's not helpful. But like it's just hard that way. So top 3 are like the 3 worst things that kind of happened this week in terms of like my brain. So hyperfocus is a symptom where one gets caught up on one task, so much so that all of the tasks will become ignored. And I had this issue this week, but like common things of this are like video games, books, instruments, small tasks like cleaning and more. For the past like week and a half, I've been hyper focused on trying to find this band that I had heard one time in like 2014 or 15. And I couldn't find them. I didn't know anything about them other than that the one single like album cover I knew had like a circle with a $sign in it and like a rainbow in the background, as you can see on the screen. And I didn't know what it was. And I literally was struggling for like 4 or 5 days to try to figure out what it was. Like literally I got back from camp, and then I hadn't thought about it all week. I sat and do it and go, what is the name of this band? I couldn't think of a song. I couldn't think of like a name. Couldn't think of anything other than this. And so I'd be singing, I'm like, is that the band? Is that the band? Is that what they call it? Call it Bam-Nam-Nams? I don't know. So like it got to a point like today where I literally was trying to do this and I couldn't. And so I ended up re-downloading iTunes. I don't have any Apple products just to see if I could find this old band in my iTunes library. And I did. They're called the New Beat Fund. They're not worth all the effort that I put into refinding them. But I found them. I listened to that entire album again. It has a song in it called Peaches. I don't know what it's about. I don't know about a lot of the things on here. But I listened to all of it again. I'm listening to their new stuff. Why? I don't know. Is it beneficial? No. Did it help me with making this video? Nope. Did it do anything productive in my life? Nope. Could I listen to anything else and not think about it? Probably. Did I? Nope. Instead, I spent literally 5 or 6 days just trying to find this band, to the point where like my Google search was like band $ money logo rainbows $ circle is sense. Like I couldn't find anything, and it was so frustrating. And like they're not a popular band. They're not like worldwide band. Like I asked people, and I'm like, you know this band? They're like, no. What do they make? I don't know. What's the song with this? I don't know. I just needed to find them. And the fact that I finally did today was so helpful in actually making this video because it didn't get distracted anymore. But there they are, New Beat Funds. The EP was called Coins with a $ on the front, spelled COINZ. It has like 5 songs on it, including a song called Celibate Celebrity, which is all about selling nudes to TMZ. I don't know. I don't know why this is the thing that I needed to do, but it is what I spent my entire day doing. Next, number 2, impulsive decision making. This was like a toss-up between number 1 or 2. This video is a full week late because instead of doing anything productive, I went to camp for a full week because John Aronoff called me on a Friday and said, "You want to go to camp?" And I said, "Sure. I don't have anything else going on." I was supposed to see Jason, and then instead of seeing Jason, I ended up having to take the dog somewhere because the dog didn't have a place to stay for 2 days. So now I had this dog issue. I quit on a date. I didn't see friends. I messed up so many things because I was impulsive, and I suddenly decided to go to camp. I have no idea why. There's no logic here. There's no common sense here. But impulsive decision-making skills are such a common issue where, like, I impulsively made soup the other day. Can't tell you why. Don't know why. It was 100 degrees out, and I made soup. I said, you know what this very, very hot day needs? A hot beverage with chicken in it. I did a lot of things other than going to camp. I mean, not going to camp. I mean, yes, going to camp. But I also did a lot of things other than making this video, just based on impulse and like having impulse control problems and like deciding, yeah, you know, you make me want to make a video. Nope. And number 1, difficulty sticking to a task. I did so many other things at the same time to avoid this. Like, I did so many other things. I went to camp. I found a band that I didn't need to hear. I threw hatchets. I took care of not 1, but now 2 dogs. This video is out of date because of this. I did a bunch of scripts. I listened to music. I watched TV. I literally finished watching an anime. I did all these things because this task seemed so big and difficult to do that I just didn't. And I just saw it and like would cry. And then to make myself feel less sad, I would then go and do everything else. So difficulty sticking to a task was objectively the worst part of it. Not only that, I had so much trouble sticking to it because every time I would pick a topic, I'd be like, this is a great topic. This is stupid. I hate this topic. Why would I pick this? Here's a list of some of the topics I thought of. 1, anime characters based on their political alignments. B, fun topics that I could make PowerPoints about. A PowerPoint about making PowerPoints. Stupid. 3, reasons why Henry's topic sucked. I just saw a video just making fun of Henry's video. And I was like, that would be funny, but like stupid. It would be pointless and dumb. Cartoon characters rated by how likely they are to promote terrorism. This was just a thing. I was like, yeah, like what about that? And then there was just like a bunch of other topics. There was one that was like top 10 reasons to sleep with Guy Fieri. Like, I don't know. I just came up with nonsense. And so this whole process was a mess. And so like, so number 1 was difficulty sticking to one task at a time. It was increasingly impossible as it went on. And that is my presentation on why this video is so late. But I did it. It's done. I can now move on to Henry's question about spoons and like what I would get rid of. And the answer's really obvious. I would get rid of forks. You don't need forks ever. Like ever. You can use a knife or a spoon and like use that. Like you can cut with a knife and spoon and then use the knife to stab and nom nom or something like that. But like you need a spoon. Like you can eat rice with a spoon. You can eat green beans with a spoon. You can eat soup. You can eat Jello. You can eat so many more things with a spoon. And then you need that knife to cut. So like if I had to get rid of one, I'd get rid of a fork because a fork is useless. Not only that, there's so many finger foods. Like spoons are super important. And like if you get rid of the spoon, what are you eating soup with? What are you eating cereal with? And like people be like, oh, you can eat cereal by drinking. Shut up. No, you can't. That's disgusting. So my answer is I'd get rid of a fork. I don't have any deep philosophical reasoning behind this. I did. Now on to Henry's question. Like my question for Henry. Henry, I have a serious question for you. If you were able to go back in time and make one change to your life, like you can't tell yourself anything, you can't do anything, there's no like advice, you can make one change, like a small change or a big change, like you're gonna make one change. You can't tell yourself you're making the change. You can't directly impact, like you can't have a conversation with yourself. You can't change someone else. You can just make some change in your life without telling yourself about it. What change are you making? Why are you doing this? Explain it to me. This is After Campfire. My name's Sam Rubenstein. I was able to make this video by threatening to withhold Wawa. And so now that the video is made, I'm going to Wawa. I will see you soon.